First, I just want to start by congratulating all of the inductees tonight. I started to work at Murray State in 1987, and I have attended the banquets since then, and tonight is the first night that I can say that I actually was there when all of the inductees played. So I'm not sure what that says. But thank you. Thank you for choosing Murray State. Cheryl Whitaker, Miss Cheryl, Miss Whitaker, whatever you know her as, but mostly she was a second mama to a bunch of basketball guys. She started working at Murray State in 1987. She worked there for 22 years, but we weren't finished with her just yet. She stayed off work for about a year, and in February of 2009, we talked her into coming back to work part-time because that's how good she was at what she did, and hopefully she missed us maybe as much as we missed her. Cheryl came back and worked for the next 10 years, so she really worked for about 32 years in all. Her last stint was in February 2019, and then I retired in June of 2019. But then she also did a little time for Steve Crone this summer, helping him with basketball camps when he came back. Steve knows good help. And actually, Steve sent me a text this morning, and he has a question for you, Cheryl. He wants to know if you will unretire. Cheryl was not only the basketball secretary, but she was also baseball and men's golf. But for basketball, she was so much more than just a secretary. There were many nights that she came back into the office after hours when her coaches came back in because they maybe had been out recruiting, watching, or going to games and needed scouting reports and recruiting reports typed up because in those days you didn't have the cell phones with the apps where you could just download it. Cheryl actually had to type the things up. She came back and did that on her own time. She was also a sign painter. We used to could paint the signs. We had the long white butcher paper where you could paint the signs and tape them on the sides of the buses when they left for the OVC and NCAA tournaments. She's probably made more chocolate chip cookies and put them in containers and sent on the bus trips for her guys so they wouldn't get hungry. She has had team meals at her house. If any of the guys were sick and Cheryl knew about it, you were guaranteed to get some homemade chicken noodle soup from her. She has organized team send-offs when the teams would go to the OVC and NCAA tournaments, complete with the police, fire department, escorts. And when they won those tournaments, even though Cheryl would be there, she would call back and have people, whoever stayed here, would set up, back in the day of Racer Arena, she would have the chair set up with the helium balloons tied on it and have a little greet when the teams came back to show them how much that they were loved. Cheryl's faith and her family have meant more to her than anything. She was very active in St. Leo's Church. While she was working, Mark, Lisa, and Aaron were in middle school and high school, and they were involved in sports. And Cheryl somehow always managed to juggle her work schedule and her athletic schedule between their games. Now she follows her grandchildren. They all participated in sports, and she and Bill have even been known to go to Louisiana and watch her grandchildren there as they compete. She was active in Needline while she worked at Murray State, and she even served on the board of directors there. She started having the teams collect food, the canned food goods, when she worked there this time of year when they needed canned foods. I think she's actually the one that started that, having teams bring in canned foods, and now they do it for a competition between the sports to see who can bring in the most food. She also volunteers at Soup for the Soul kitchen. She worked for 6 men's basketball head coaches throughout her career and too many assistant coaches to count. And I just kind of looked before we started. She has 4 coaches that are here tonight. And I think that says a lot about who she is. Cheryl asked me to be up here tonight, but I thought it was important that her coaches share in this honor with her because she was so instrumental in their successes. So I'm just going to share with you something from Steve Newton, her first head coach, that he sent to me. He said, "I greatly appreciate the opportunity to share my memories of Cheryl during my years at Murray. Let me start off by saying Cheryl Whitaker was a valued assistant to any success that I experienced as a coach. We were very fortunate to have her in our midst, for she played an invaluable role on our staff. For one, Cheryl was 24/7 on the job. I never heard her say, 'No, I'm not able to do that.' She seemed to always find a way to get the job done. She was a very positive force. Cheryl was always there to assist me, our coaching staff, and most importantly, to the players when the pressures of the season became very powerful. There was no one more loyal to our team mission of success. We congratulate Murray State for giving her this most deserving recognition. I know what an important role Bill, Mark, Lisa, and Aaron played. I thank them for that support. Our staff and our team slogan was 'Expect to be the best.' Cheryl Whitaker was the best. Go Racers." Billy Kennedy, her last coach, had this to say: "I knew the first day I met Miss Cheryl that she was going to be the best recruit for our program. She not only loved Murray State and the basketball program, she embraced me and my staff from day one. Even though she intended to retire when we arrived, I think she saw how lost we would be without her, and she chose to stick around and take care of us. I don't know how we would have made it without her. Her care and love for me and my family was a priority. I always knew she had my back. Her wisdom and advice in knowing who to trust and not was paramount. She was steady in her emotions and support for me, no highs, no lows. Every morning I came into the office, I knew I could count on her support and her loyalty." Cheryl, you are absolutely one of the best co-workers and friends that I could have ever dreamed of having. You, Claire Benton, and Sandra Edwards made it fun to go to work. It wasn't a job, it was fun. We've traveled on lots of different basketball trips and we've made lots of memories. Not many people can work together as long as we have and remain as good friendships as we have. I know that Sandra and Claire are happy tonight that you have joined their group in the Hall of Distinction. You have made an impact on the lives of so many young men. You showed them love, you showed them kindness. You showed them that you cared about them, not just as a player, but as a person. It was never just about a paycheck for you. As Steve Crum said at Hoopalooza this year, it's about the people, it's about relationships, and making a difference. And without a doubt, you made a difference in the lives of lots of young men. Thank you, Bill, Mark, Lisa, and Aaron, for sharing your mom with us. Cheryl Whitaker, I am honored. Nope, you can come on up. I am honored that you asked me to present you for the Hall of Distinction.
I'm going to read my speech, but first I must thank Janet for all her kind words, because I'm not sure all those things were true. I wasn't bad. That wasn't really me. Let me begin with my speech. Janet, thank you for your kind introduction, most importantly for your long and very special friendship. Anyone who knows Janet knows what a bright, thoughtful, loyal person she is to her family and friends, and what an asset she has been to Murray State University. And I love you, Janet. Thank you to our special guests this evening for taking time out of your very busy lives to attend tonight. Members of the Board of Regents, our athletic director, Nico Yanko, two of my former coaches, Mark Burnson and Tavester Anderson, and Tavester's wife, Joyce, and all the current Hall of Fame and distinction members. First, I would like to say congratulations to all the former athletes who are being recognized tonight. Without you, your teammates, and your dedication to your sport, none of us would have been here this evening for this celebration. I began in athletics in 1985 with Claire Benton, Cheryl Beamer, Sandra Edwards, Janet Futrell, and Sharon Russell. This was a very special group of ladies who loved working together, found time each morning for a cup of coffee while we shared information regarding the upcoming day, about our families, and probably a little local gossip. As the athletic department grew and things became more hectic, our morning coffees came to an end. However, we did continue to find a few moments each day for a very short visit. I have the pleasure of working with an outstanding group of athletic directors: Johnny Reagan, Mike Strickland, E.W. Dennison, and Alan Ward. They made Murray State a great place to work. I would like to share a few comments about the individuals I had an opportunity to work for and with during my career at Murray State. In 1985, my first coach, Steve Newton, Mike Dill, and his staff, Mark Burnson, I kind of messed that one up, sorry, became my first basketball staff, followed later by assistants Charles Cunningham and Craig Morris. I could not have asked for a better beginning. After 3 years with these great coaches, they put together a team with so much heart, love, and talent for the game. It gave Murray State an opportunity to participate in our first NCAA tournament since 1969, to play and beat North Carolina State in Lincoln, Nebraska. It is a memory I will never forget, from watching the Murray fans arrive on a Taylor school bus to seeing Jimmy Valvano pound the floor to try and motivate his team, and listening to the fans in the arena cheering for Murray State. The whole arena was just as loud as you could ever imagine, and every fan there, except for maybe the North Carolina State fans, were cheering for Murray State University. What a win, and what a first NCAA tournament experience. Following the season, one thing I quickly learned was a coach's success means you better prepare yourself for a new coach. Thus enters Scott Egger, coach number 2, who was young, exciting, and a dynamic head coach. Scott and his team added 3 OVC tournament titles and 2 NCAA trips to our record. In 1995, Coach Mark Godfrey became our head coach, continued the MSU winning tradition. Like many previous coaches, his success at Murray State took him to an even more challenging position at the University of Alabama. Upon leaving, Coach Upon leaving, Godfrey left us with the most talented assistant coach, Tavester Anderson, who easily moved into the head coach's chair. Coach T was a great person to work with and made my job as easy as possible. His wife Joyce was there to help him every step of the way and was a mom to all T's players, staff, and to me. Thank you to both of you for what you did for Murray State. Mick Cronin became head coach, number 5. Murray State was just the beginning for Mick. He left Murray in 2006. His success at Murray provided him with a great future in college basketball, and he is currently the head coach at UCLA. My basketball tenure ended with Coach Billy Kennedy and his assistants, Steve Prohm, Isaac Chu, Abdul Rahim. What a great group of individuals to spend my last few years with. They will always have a special place in my heart. They were the best of the best. And Coach Prohm, I'm so happy you returned to Murray. I will always love you for your thoughtfulness and kindness you have always shown to both me and my family. I'm wishing you much future success here at Murray State University. Because of all these great coaches and their teams, it gave me the opportunity to attend 11 NCAA tournaments, 3 NIT tournaments, and 13 OVC championships. Needless to say, working in men's basketball was a wonderful experience. In 1998, baseball, men's golf, and rifle became part of my responsibilities. I had the pleasure of working with 2 wonderful baseball coaches, Mike Tiki and Rob McDonald. I also had the pleasure of getting to know both their families, who became very, very special to me. I always look forward to their children's visits to the office as they brighten my days with their smiles and laughter. Coach Eddie Hunt, the men's golf coach, was self-sufficient and asked for very little help. The 2 things Eddie loved most were his players and Murray State University. Coach Alan Lawler was a rival coach when I retired and is still coaching a very successful team. Quickly, I would also like to recognize a few coworkers, past and present, who I admired because of their love and loyalty to Murray State. One person who's not here this evening, but I'd like to mention, is Eric Frederick. This is Eric's 30th year at Murray State, and he was the best. Dave Wander, I appreciate all the hats you wear in athletics and the love you show for your job. I do have a couple apologies to share. I missed one here, sorry. Margaret Simmons and Nat Kelly, both devoted staff members, always working to make sure our athletes were eligible to participate in the respective sports and assisted all of the athletes in achieving their college goals. Dr. Blaylock, thank you for your compassion and dedication to the care and well-being of our student athletes. It is all about lifelong relationships. Thank you to all my coworkers, coaches, athletes, and fans for help for creating so many wonderful memories. I do have a couple apologies to share. The most important one goes to my family. I put Murray State before all of you. That was the biggest personal mistake of my career. Also, to all the poor fans who sit in front of me at Murray State ball games. I recently sat in front of a fan at one of our basketball games who loves the Racers as much as I do. She also cheered in a very loud voice, probably very similar to my past racer voice. I did not realize just how annoying it must have been to sit in front of Cheryl Whitaker at a Murray basketball game. I'm so sorry. Finally, thank you to my husband, Bill, and our children, grandchildren, and special guest for being here to share this special evening with me. You are all the light of my life. Most importantly, thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for their thoughtful recognition and make me part of the Murray State Hall of Distinction. I'm truly honored. And thank you to the Murray State University staff for making this evening perfect. Thank you.